Hello, dear Libra. Let me be the first to tell you, your big break is coming, and today, something rare is shifting in your destiny. The seventh door is opening. And if you're here right now, it's not by chance, it's because your soul is ready to step through it. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot. This isn't just another horoscope video. This is a guided moment, a sacred mirror that reflects what your intuition already knows but hasn't yet spoken out loud. Today, July 3rd, carries the divine vibration of the number 3, the sacred trinity of mind, body, and spirit. It's a number of divine communication, inner harmony, and soul connection. And right now, Mercury is forming a rare trine with Neptune, enhancing your intuitive downloads, emotional clarity, and your ability to perceive what others can't yet see. So I'll ask you, have you felt something shifting inside you lately, something unspoken but undeniable? Because the universe is already whispering answers. This message is especially for you, Libra, the seeker of balance, of justice, of beauty. You've been holding space for others, keeping the peace, keeping it together. But deep down, you've also been feeling something cracking open. And today, I'm here to confirm, the crack is where your light is about to burst through. Maybe you've noticed certain relationships fading, or old versions of yourself feeling heavier than before. Maybe you've been longing for more clarity, deeper love, or financial freedom that actually feels aligned. If so, breathe. You're in the right place. Because today, with every card I pull, every symbol I channel, and every cosmic thread we unravel, I'll walk you through the truth. You are not behind. You are right on time. And the door that's opening? It's yours and yours alone. But before we dive deeper into your personal energy for July 3rd, the tarot, the sacred numbers, the colors aligned with your soul, and the quiet message from your future self, let me take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for being here. For watching. For liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. Every moment you spend here isn't just supporting this channel, it's infusing your energy into it. And that changes everything. Your support is the reason Zodiac Whisper Tarot continues to grow and reach the hearts it's meant to heal. So thank you, from the bottom of my heart. I truly mean it. And trust me, Libra, you're going to want to stay with me until the very end of this reading. Because what the universe is revealing today, it's beautiful. It's liberating. It's yours. Now tell me, my faithful Libras, what pulled you here today? What quiet feeling nudged your heart toward this message? If you're already feeling the shift within, comment below with, "I'm ready to open the seventh door." Let that be your soul's confirmation that today is not an accident, it's a beginning. Let's begin your journey. Right now. Sometimes, the most powerful beginnings are hidden in the quiet surrender of an ending. By the time you've arrived at this part of the journey, dear Libra, your soul has already started a sacred unraveling. What you once held close, an identity, a belief, a relationship, maybe even a dream, may now feel heavy, faded, or strangely out of tune. And that's not a failure. That's evolution. The cards speaking to us today, Justice and the Ten of Swords, are not here to punish, but to realign you with something higher, not above you, but within you. You're not being asked to start over. You're being offered a clearer path back to yourself. The image of a weathered wooden door quietly closing behind you is more than poetic metaphor, it's a spiritual mechanism. In astrology, Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of balance, values, and self-worth. And justice, your sign's own archetype, reminds us that when things fall out of alignment, the scales must tilt before they can steady again. When you walk away from what no longer fits, even if it once felt like everything, you're honoring the natural order. You're allowing equilibrium to restore itself. The law of attraction teaches that we are always communicating with the universe, not just through our words, but through our boundaries. When you hold on to what is broken out of fear or nostalgia, you unknowingly declare, "I don't believe better exists." But when you release it with clarity and grace, you whisper, "I am worthy of something more aligned, more true, more whole." And the universe listens. It always does. You don't need to shout to be heard by it, you only need to be sincere. This is a moment of sacred letting go. But not the kind that comes with resentment or bitterness, no, this is softer, gentler. A conscious unclenching of the hand that has held on too long. There's wisdom in loosening your grip. Not because what you held was unimportant, but because your soul is simply ready to hold something new. Sometimes, the most courageous thing you can do is to stop trying to force a door open that was meant to close. Behind it lies all the things you've already outgrown. Ahead of you, though, there is a hallway shimmering with potential, one that knows your name and matches your stride. But to step into it, you must acknowledge that not everything is meant to be carried forward. That's not abandonment. That's alignment. The world often tells us to cling, to fight, to fix, to make it work at all costs. But real strength is knowing when something has served its purpose and giving it permission to leave in peace. There's a quiet kind of divine order in that. It's the voice that gently says, "You don't need this anymore. You've learned what you came to learn." And maybe you have. Maybe you've done your part in that story, and now, it's time to walk into a new one. You don't need to rush. Let this be a slow release. A whispered goodbye. A soft exhale. And if you're unsure how to begin, start with just one sentence. "I release what no longer belongs to me." That's it. One truth spoken clearly. One step forward with grace. The rest will follow. And if there's one lesson to carry in your heart as you stand between two realities, let it be this: peace is not found in perfect endings. It's found in the knowing that you were brave enough to choose them. So, dear Libra, as the door behind you softly clicks shut, I ask you, what are you ready to set down? A name? A memory? A burden you didn't even realize you were still carrying? Leave a balance scale below if you feel ready. The next door is already waiting. It's easy to forget your center when you've spent so much of your life orbiting around others. As a Libra, you are naturally gifted with the ability to see all sides, to weigh fairness, to make peace. You bring beauty where there was chaos, calm where there was noise. But sometimes, in the act of restoring harmony, you unintentionally silence your own voice. The desire to maintain balance around you can cause you to lose balance within you. And slowly, subtly, the scales tip, not because you've failed, but because you've forgotten to place yourself on the scale at all. Today's energy is about remembering. The Star and the Knight of Cups remind us that hope is not a distant light we chase, it's something we reconnect to the moment we turn back inward. The star arrives after the Tower in tarot, which means you've already gone through the shakeup. Now, you're being offered healing. Not dramatic, not loud, but gentle. A rehydration of the heart. The Knight of Cups comes next with an invitation to believe again, to feel again, to lead with compassion not just toward others but finally, toward yourself. This moment, in the larger cosmic story of July 3rd, is not asking you to fight or fix. It's asking you to soften. And in that softening, to remember that your balance is sacred, not a performance for others, but a foundation for yourself. The number 3 in numerology today carries the vibration of joy, communication, and creativity. The number 11 speaks of inner awakening, a spiritual alignment with your true path. Combined, they open a symbolic seventh door, a passage that leads you back to your own truth, not the one others needed you to play. You may have been praised for being agreeable, easygoing, adaptable. But these traits, while beautiful, should never come at the cost of your authenticity. There's a kind of strength that exists in saying, "This is who I am," even if it doesn't keep the peace for everyone. It's not selfish to center yourself. It's necessary. A scale cannot stand unless both sides are equally supported. And in your life, that means ensuring that your needs, your feelings, your desires are given the same weight as everyone else's. There's a quiet wisdom in one of the teachings I often reflect on, that we are not here to be everything for everyone. Even the most generous heart must rest. Even the most graceful soul must choose boundaries. When you consistently place your worth in how comfortable others feel around you, you lose the clarity of how you truly feel within yourself. You weren't born to be a mirror only reflecting what others want to see. You were born to shine from your own center. You don't need to explain your shift. You only need to honor it. That's the message of the star. Real healing happens when we begin to trust ourselves again. When we believe that we are enough even when we're not bending to meet everyone else. When we take time to listen, not to others, but to that quiet voice inside that's been waiting patiently to be chosen. So maybe today is not about doing more. Maybe it's about choosing less but choosing deeply. Choosing people who lift you. Conversations that nourish you. Moments that align, not drain. And choosing, again and again, to place yourself gently on the scale, not for balance in the eyes of the world, but for balance within your soul. If you've ever lost yourself trying to keep the peace, let this be the moment you come home. And if your heart whispered, "Yes," while reading this, I invite you to write below, "I choose myself again." Because that one declaration, however small it may seem, is the beginning of balance. True balance. The kind that lasts. There are moments when life gently nudges us to pause, not because we're lost, but because it's time to receive what we've spent so long giving. This part of your journey, dear Libra, is exactly that. A return. Not just of balance, but of love, recognition, and emotional renewal. The energy of the Six of Pentacles meeting the Queen of Cups tells a story that so many of us carry silently, the story of giving, often without receiving in equal measure. But now, the scales begin to shift, not because others have changed, but because you are remembering how much you deserve. As someone ruled by Venus, you've always been attuned to the beauty of relationships, to fairness, to emotional harmony. You know how to hold space for others, how to see both sides, how to offer kindness when it's needed most. But the Queen of Cups reminds us, compassion that flows only outward eventually empties the cup. She is intuitive, loving, nurturing, but not at her own expense. When she appears alongside the Six of Pentacles, it's a message: love, too, must be reciprocal. It must be honest. It must include you. This is not about turning your back on generosity or walking away from those you care about. It's about shifting the lens slightly. Asking, have I been giving from my overflow or from my reserves? Because real, sustainable love, whether it's with family, a partner, or friends, thrives only when boundaries exist. When you can say, I can give, and still keep something for myself. That's not selfish. That's wisdom. The colors guiding Libra today: soft peach pink and shimmering aquamarine, aren't just beautiful, they're symbolic. Pink tones speak to the heart's openness, the willingness to express love, but also to receive it. Aquamarine opens the throat chakra, the seat of truth and emotional honesty. Combined, they encourage you to say what you mean with kindness, and to ask for what you need without guilt. Maybe there's something you've been wanting to tell someone, something tender, something honest, but fear held you back. This is the moment to write it. Not necessarily to send, but to let your heart speak, even if just to yourself. Sometimes hearing your own voice in truth is the most healing sound of all. In relationships, it's easy to lose track of ourselves when we're trying to hold everything together. But think of it like a scale again: your symbol, your essence. A scale is only steady when both sides carry weight, when both are acknowledged. You can't carry the emotional load for everyone and still feel balanced. Mutual respect, mutual care, mutual presence, that's where the scale stills. There's a quiet piece of wisdom I often return to: when we love others, we reflect the divine. But when we love ourselves, we honor the life we were given. That includes standing up for your emotional truth, asking for what feels fair, and releasing the idea that being good means being silent. Goodness doesn't ask you to disappear. It asks you to show up with empathy and clarity, in equal parts. So I encourage you, write one loving sentence you've never dared to say out loud. Say it first to yourself. Let it be your anchor. And then ask, who in your life deserves a love that honors both of you, not just what you give? If someone comes to mind, honor them today by simply writing the first letter of their name in the comments. That letter, shared with intention, may be the beginning of a whole new way of relating. Because from here on out, love should never require you to forget yourself. And recognition is not a reward, it's a reflection of all the quiet light you've been pouring into the world. Let it come back to you now. You're ready. And so, after rediscovering your center and choosing to place yourself back on the scale of your own life, this next phase becomes not about protecting your peace but about learning how to live inside it. When the heart has been overextended, whether through overgiving, over-explaining, or simply trying to be everything for everyone, it forgets how to receive without guilt. But what today's energy asks of you is simple: to remember that love, in its healthiest form, is a two-way current. The Six of Pentacles isn't just about generosity, it's about balance in the exchange. It's about checking in with yourself and gently asking, am I being met with the same care I so freely offer? Libra's essence is rooted in equilibrium, and yet even you, the peacemaker of the Zodiac, are not exempt from imbalance. In fact, you often face it more than others because you sense it so acutely. But sensing imbalance and speaking it are two different things, and this is where the Queen of Cups offers her quiet guidance. Her emotional intelligence isn't loud, but it is firm. She teaches us that feeling deeply is a gift, but honoring what we feel is the real courage. She knows that boundaries built on clarity are stronger than those built on resentment. And most importantly, she reminds us that tending to our emotional well-being is not just an act of self-care, it's an act of self-respect. This is a good moment to ask yourself, where in my life has the giving become lopsided? Have I stopped expressing my own needs because I've grown used to being the strong one? Have I silenced my emotions in the name of harmony? Sometimes, we convince ourselves that being low maintenance makes us more lovable, more desirable, more safe. But the truth is, love that asks you to mute yourself is not love that sees you fully. And if you've forgotten what full-hearted receiving feels like, today is the day to begin remembering. The colors guiding us today, peach pink and aqua blue, are more than aesthetic. Peach, soft and warm, holds the vibration of self-compassion, while aqua, clear and flowing, allows emotional truth to rise to the surface. Together, they invite a gentle cleansing. You don't need to flood the room with your feelings, Libra. You only need to stop damming them up. Start by saying to yourself what you've been too afraid to say to someone else. It doesn't need to be loud, but it does need to be honest. That's the beginning of healing. And if it helps, let this be a reminder passed down through quiet wisdom. You were not created to be forgotten in your own life. You are not meant to stay silent just to keep the peace around you. There is a difference between kindness and self-erasure. One builds bridges, the other builds walls you'll eventually be trapped behind. Love is never supposed to cost you your voice. So as we continue on, I invite you to practice a gentle but powerful truth. I can love others without abandoning myself. That small sentence, repeated daily, can become an anchor when emotions rise and expectations pull. It is the foundation for all healthy connection. And if someone comes to mind as you hear these words, someone you've perhaps overextended for, or someone you long to speak to more honestly, hold that name quietly in your heart. Or if you feel brave, share just the first letter below. That small offering can be the first ripple in a whole new way of relating. You're not here to carry it all. You're here to live freely within what's yours to hold. Stepping into this part of the journey, something begins to feel different. It's as if all the inner work, the release, the recentering, the quiet courage to ask for what you deserve has unlocked a new doorway. And it has. This is where you begin to witness the return of your energy in tangible, beautiful form. The Nine of Pentacles and the Empress appearing together isn't just a signal of abundance, it's a celebration of self-sufficiency, elegance, and the deep kind of fulfillment that doesn't beg to be seen. It radiates all on its own. The Nine of Pentacles speaks of a quiet kind of wealth, a wealth that comes from discipline, from self-trust, from choosing long-term peace over short-term distraction. It shows a person who has worked hard not just to earn their living, but to live in alignment with what truly matters. This is not loud success. It's not for show. It's the kind that lets you sleep deeply at night, knowing you've built something real. And then, the Empress enters not to replace independence, but to deepen it. She reminds you that prosperity is not just material. It's sensual. It's emotional. It's felt in your breath, your food, your relationships, your body, your environment. She is the embodiment of receiving without apology. And maybe that's what this moment is truly about, allowing yourself to receive the life you've been slowly growing into. The universe isn't asking you to hustle harder. It's asking you to ground more fully into who you already are. The Empress doesn't chase. She attracts. And the Nine of Pentacles doesn't prove. She simply enjoys. Together, they form a message that's rare and powerful. You are allowed to enjoy what you've built. You are allowed to thrive, not just survive. The number 888, woven into today's energy, carries a message of sustainable abundance. Not a flash of luck, but a rhythm of generosity that continues because you've learned how to honor the flow. It also symbolizes balance in motion, giving and receiving, action and rest, vision and embodiment. And perhaps, more than anything, it's a gentle reminder that abundance is not something you wait for, it's something you allow. The moment you believe you're worthy of it, you open the door. So what does this look like in your real life? It can begin simply. Each morning, take 5 quiet minutes to imagine your ideal financial scenario, not in a desperate or grasping way, but in calm, grounded gratitude. Picture the numbers. Picture how you feel when you see them. Let that become your baseline vibration. Not fantasy faith. Support your body, too. Start with something simple and nurturing, a warm glass of lemon water to cleanse your system, or a conscious shift in your meals to welcome more color, more nutrients, more life. You don't have to overhaul your whole routine. You just have to make one choice each day that honors your future self. And when it comes to love, especially the love you give to yourself, start making it tangible. Buy yourself flowers for no reason. Wear something that makes you feel radiant even if no one sees it. Give yourself the kind of care you always wished someone else would. Not as compensation, but as confirmation, you are no longer waiting to be chosen. You have chosen you. There's wisdom in remembering that even the greatest gardens bloom one seed at a time. And you, dear Libra, are now in your season of growth. Of lushness. Of receiving, not just because you've earned it, but because you've expanded enough to hold it. So I invite you now to reflect, what is one thing you'll invest in for yourself this month, not because you need it, but because you deserve it? Write it below, and let that intention take root. You've walked through the 7th door. Now it's time to live on the other side. If you've made it here, then perhaps you already know balance isn't something you chase outside of yourself. It's something that awakens when you finally return to your center. All throughout this journey, Libra, you've been reminded that your worth doesn't depend on how perfectly you manage the needs of others. Your worth lives in how gently, how bravely, you choose to meet your own. You weren't born to spend your life adjusting your weight on the scale so others could feel comfortable. You were born to be the scale, graceful, wise, whole-rooted in your own clarity. And now, as you step through this 7th door, you're not just entering a new chapter. You're choosing a new agreement with yourself, one where peace no longer means silence, and love no longer means sacrifice. You are choosing alignment over approval, wholeness over harmony, soul over performance. There's something incredibly powerful about realizing that you don't need to keep searching for balance if you begin to live it from within. This is where your freedom begins, not in the outer world falling into place, but in your own spirit standing tall, even when things around you are shifting. As someone once said, the calmest place in a storm is at the center. In you, dear Libra, We're made to be that center. So let me ask you, what if today is the day you stop proving and start allowing? What if your softness wasn't a weakness, but the very proof of your strength? What would shift if you gave yourself the same care you so naturally extend to others? What if, for once, you let life love you back? You don't need to have all the answers to begin. You just need to make a choice. One choice, one breath, one whispered truth that says, I'm allowed to come first in my own life. And from that truth, a different kind of reality begins to unfold, one built on intention, nourishment, and quiet joy. So before we part ways for today, I'd love for you to take a moment and reflect. What is one thing, just one, that you are truly proud of yourself for? Something you often overlook, or forget to celebrate. Write it down. Say it aloud in the voice of someone who loves you deeply. Let it land. Let it stay. And if your heart is ready to claim this shift, to move forward through that seventh door of trust, balance, and self-recognition, then leave a comment below with the words, I open the seventh door, and add a balance scale to seal your intention. These small rituals matter. They anchor what your soul already knows, that today, something sacred within you realigned. Thank you truly for spending this time with me. Every like, every comment, every subscription brings you deeper into the energy of this sacred space we're building together. Your presence here on Zodiac Whisper Tarot means more than you know. It's your energy that fuels this channel and keeps these messages flowing exactly when you need them most. And I promise you this, every time you return stronger, softer, and more in tune with who you truly are. So let this final image stay with you on the great scale of life. In this moment, you chose yourself. And that, Libra, is the most powerful balance of all. Hoi ChatGPT.